Hey, what's up guys? This is 9Lives coming at you with another video. This is the first episode of my Sniper Secret series for Call of Duty WW2. There's many more episodes of this to come, and the whole idea of this series is to help you get as good as you possibly can at sniping and quickscoping in Call of Duty WW2. So if you want to improve this year, make sure you are subscribed so you never miss a future episode of this series, and let's get started. So something kind of strange about sniping in Call of Duty WW2 is the way that aim assist works. So with the custom class setup that I'm using in this clip, I'm running two primary weapons, both sniper rifles. That's through the Rifleman basic training. The developers of this game made it so one of the sniper rifles here has aim assist for quickscoping, and the other one doesn't have aim assist for quickscoping. So what I did is I went to my game settings and just turned aim assist completely off while I was using this setup, because that way I could get some consistency when I was instant swapping between the two weapons. By the way, I highly recommend that class setup. It's really fun. Those two sniper rifles have the exact same scope and speed, so if you turn aim assist off, it feels really fluid to switch between the two. But I'll cover all my custom classes at the end of this video if you guys want to see the custom class setups that I'm running. But to start things off with this first episode of Sniper Secrets, I want to first of all take a closer look at how aim assist is affecting the sniper rifles in this game. So which sniper rifles have aim assist while quickscoping, which ones can only get it while you're holding your breath, and we'll also look at the exact scope and speeds for all the sniper rifles, as well as comparing some other aspects about them to see which ones excel in different areas. I'll also talk a little bit about why I like to run 6 sensitivity and how come I sometimes will change it depending on what I'm doing. And then we'll go over my custom classes in case you want to try out exactly some of the custom classes that I've been using. So I have my friend Jason here with me in a private match, and he's going to help me demonstrate the aim assist on the different sniper rifles. If you want to get the most benefit out of this and all the other topics that we're covering today in this first episode of Sniper Secrets, you should probably also watch my quickscoping tutorial. I think it complements this whole Sniper Secret series very well. So I just wanted to let you know that's there in case you hadn't seen it yet. All right, so let's get started with the Karabin sniper rifle. This is the only semi-automatic sniper rifle available in the game at the moment, and I'm going to be using the Mountain Division here. So as we're testing aim assist, I'm also going to be testing the scope in speed. So as you can see, the Karabin actually scopes in 350 milliseconds. That makes it the second fastest, just behind the Kar 98K, which you'll see later on is 334 milliseconds. And in this demonstration, you can see that there's no aim assist here until I hold my breath. So when I hold my breath, I do get aim assist, and that's because I'm using the Mountain Division's ability, which gives you that aim assist while you're holding your breath. But it also takes away the standard aim assist on this weapon, because the Karabin by default is supposed to have aim assist, but when you throw the Mountain Division on it, it takes away the standard aim assist when you're not holding your breath, and you only get aim assist when you do hold your breath. So this is what the Karabin looks like in a non-mountain division. So if you're going to use infantry or airborne or anything other than mountain, you're going to get that standard aim assist when you're not holding your breath. So the Karabin is the lowest damage sniper rifle, and because of that, I don't use it very much because I usually play core game modes, and the Karabin really excels in hardcore because in hardcore it's a one-shot kill. So because the Mountain Division is intended for sniping, a lot of people put the Mountain Division on all their sniper classes, but if you're going to try using the Karabin, especially with an aggressive and kind of run and gun playstyle, definitely try it without the Mountain Division. Maybe try infantry or something, and you're probably going to want to play hardcore so you can get those one-shot kills. Okay, so moving on to the Enfield with the Mountain Division. Scope and speed is 0.384, so that's 384 milliseconds. When you're not holding your breath, there's also going to be no aim assist here. So this is while I'm using the Mountain Division. And then when I hold my breath, what you'll see is I do get that aim assist because that's the ability of the Mountain Division. So this is very similar to what we saw with the Karabin. When I switch over to a class that doesn't use the Mountain Division, so this is, you know, literally anything else, it could be infantry, it could be airborne, it could be whatever you want, you're going to get that standard aim assist. So I personally don't really have a preference between quickscoping with or without aim assist, but if you really like the feel of aim assist, definitely use the Enfield without the Mountain Division. That's where it really shines, is because it has that advantage of having aim assist. All right, so the Karabin and the Enfield both have standard aim assist that you can use while quickscoping without having to hold your breath in the Mountain Division. The Springfield has a scope and speed of 384 milliseconds, and it does not have standard aim assist. So when you're not holding your breath, there's no aim assist, and when you're holding your breath while you're using the Mountain Division, of course, you're gonna get that aim assist because again, that's the ability that you get with the Mountain Division. Now, if you're running around and quickscoping, you're not gonna be holding your breath. Holding your breath is something you do on really long range shots where you really have to line the guy up and you have to steady your shot and everything like that. So realistically, if somebody's making a class to quickscope, they're usually gonna be wanting to run a non-Mountain Division because they wouldn't benefit from the aim assist that you get while holding your breath with the Mountain Division. All right, so we're moving on to the Kar98K here. So this sniper rifle is kind of infamous for having the fastest scope in speed of any of the sniper rifles in the game. That's 0.334, so that's 334 milliseconds. And when you're not holding your breath, there's not going to be any aim assist, so it's actually going to be exactly the same as what we saw with the Springfield, because then when you go ahead and hold your breath with the Mountain Division, you're going to get some aim assist. So the reason why I would say in general quick scopers in this game are not really benefiting from aim assist is because the two most popular sniper rifles for quick scoping are the Kar98K and the Springfield, neither of which have any aim assist while you're quick scoping. You can only get the aim assist while you're holding your breath with the Mountain Division, which is not something you'd be doing if you're quick scoping. So as you can see, here's a non-Mountain Division. This is what I would usually be using. I would usually be using infantry actually. And of course, there's no aim assist whatsoever. All right, so now that that's done, let's have a look at why you would use each of these sniper rifles. So starting off with the Karabin, I usually don't use the Karabin because it has such low damage that it's not very good in core game modes. Where I would recommend using the Karabin is in hardcore. Because in hardcore, it's going to be a one-shot kill, which honestly, it's still not very good because the rifles kill in one shot in hardcore, but at least it's better than killing in two shots usually in a core game mode. So this clip right here was in core. I just picked it up off the ground. Again, I don't usually use the Karabin. Moving on, so the Lee Enfield, I would recommend using if you like sniping with aim assist. So basically the aim assist is going to slow down your aim while you're targeting over an enemy. I would not recommend using the Lee Enfield with the Mountain Division because the main benefit here is that you get aim assist. So if you're going to use the Lee Enfield, might as well use it in a non-Mountain Division, get that benefit of the aim assist on a bolt action sniper rifle that's actually high enough damage that you can still quick scope with and get one-shot kills. Unfortunately though, it is the lowest damage of all the bolt action sniper rifles. So for that reason, it's not a very popular choice for quick scoping. So moving on to the Springfield, this is the highest damage bolt action sniper rifle. It's probably the second most popular sniper rifle for quick scoping because of that, but the trade-off for getting that high damage is that it's tied for the slowest scope in speed with the Lee Enfield. So you have to deal with that slower scope in speed, and also the fire rate is noticeably slower than something like the Kar98K. The Kar98K has the fastest scope in speed of all the bolt action sniper rifles by far. It also has a pretty quick fire rate and a damage that puts it in a pretty good place between the Lee Enfield and the Springfield, so you'll usually get one-shot kills with it. Because of all that, it's the most popular sniper rifle to quick scope with. You're not going to be able to get any aim assist with it though, same thing with the Springfield, so if you're looking for aim assist, definitely stick with the Lee Enfield. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about sensitivity. I usually use the Kar98K or the Springfield, both of which have no aim assist for quick scoping. Because of that, I like to use a lower sensitivity like 6 because there's no aim assist to slow down your aim as you're targeting over an enemy. So I find with 6 sensitivity, I'm able to easily line my enemies up into the middle of my screen while I'm scoping in or before I start scoping in. So then when I can finally see down my scope, I can take the shot right away if I've lined them up perfectly. Or if I still need to make a slight adjustment, I can quickly drag my scope quite accurately while I'm scoped in. That's why I like to use a lower sensitivity because it makes all of that easier. Now, there's a lot of personal preference that goes into picking a sensitivity because ultimately whatever works for you is the sensitivity that you should be using. I wouldn't recommend going lower than 6. 6 is about the lowest sensitivity that I think makes sense to use while you're quick scoping, because if it's too low, then you're not going to be able to handle close quarters engagements very well because you need to be able to quickly flick left and flick right if there's somebody right up in your face so you can take that shot in a close quarter situation. And if you go any lower than 6, it's just not going to happen. Now, if I'm going to be quick scoping with the Lee Enfield, which has aim assist, I will actually bump my sensitivity up because the function of aim assist is to lower your sensitivity as you're aiming over an enemy. And if your sensitivity is going to be lowered while you're aiming over an enemy, I actually find that 6 is too low, because then your scope just barely moves while you're aiming over an enemy. So what I'd recommend is actually bumping that up probably 3 levels if you're gonna be using aim assist on something like the Lee Enfield, or let's say you're quick scoping with the Karabin in hardcore or something. So I would usually play on 9 sensitivity if I'm gonna be using aim assist. In other games, I would go even higher, but I'm just not used to sniping with aim assist now because I've been playing Cod WW2 so much. Usually I would just run a higher sensitivity in general because other Call of Duty games usually have aim assist for the sniper rifles, and then I would be using used to that higher sensitivity and I'd probably run something like 11 or something like that. But in this game, because I'm used to just a lower sensitivity in general to cope with not having aim assist on the sniper rifles, I tend to run 9 if I'm using the Lee Enfield with aim assist. Now, if you want to try out that custom class that I showed you at the beginning of this video, where I was using the Springfield and the Lee Enfield because they both have the exact same scope and speed, so switching between them is kind of fun, and you can hit some cool clips with it where you're using both of those sniper rifles at the same time. I would just turn aim assist completely off and then just run the lower sensitivity in line with what I would usually use with the Springfield, which for me is going to be 6. But don't just use 6 because I use 6. Figure out what you like to use and what works best for you. I think a lot of you will prefer to use a higher sensitivity across the board. So, you know, something like 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe even 11. That's totally personal preference, but I think if you're using a sniper rifle without aim assist, you're probably going to want to use the lower sensitivity. And if you're quickscoping with aim assist, which is only going to happen with the Lee Enfield, or I guess the Karabin if you're playing hardcore, then you'd bump that up probably 3 levels higher. And by the way, the only time I would actually go into my game settings and turn off aim assist there is if I'm using that one custom class where I use the Lee Enfield and the Springfield together. Otherwise, I would just leave aim assist on in the game settings all the time. Okay, so let's have a look at my custom classes. A lot of you guys have been asking for this, so that's why I want to throw it in here. It is kind of a personal preference thing, so if you see something that you would modify, by all means you can modify it and change it however you want. But if you do want to try the exact same custom classes as me, here they are. So I always like to use the infantry division now. That's because the infantry division gives you an extra primary attachment. The primary attachment is nice because I like to run extended mags, rapid fire, and ballistic calibration on all of my sniping custom classes. Now, you can get an extra primary attachment using the primed basic training as well, but it doesn't really do anything else. It's supposed to reduce flinch, but they nerfed it so it basically doesn't work to reduce flinch anymore, so you'd only be getting the extra primary attachment. And I think that hustle's just way more useful because it allows you to reload faster. Basically, I want to spend as little time reloading as possible. That's why I run extended mags on everything. Reloading is just a waste of time. It takes you out of the play, it takes you out of the game. So why not use hustle so you don't have to spend so much time reloading? You can also reload while sprinting. I don't use that. I actually, in my game settings, I turn that off. So if you go to controls, you can actually turn off hustle sprint cancel. And so I enabled this. By default, it's disabled. This is so that you can reload cancel. Yeah, it's kind of annoying to not be able to reload cancel, so that's why. So I'm only really getting the benefit of reloading faster with hustle, and yeah, I like it. For my secondary, I like to use the 1911. The reason for that is because they nerfed the machine pistol, so the machine pistol is not really very competitive anymore. The 1911 is much better. And for my equipment, I like to use a sticky grenade because a sticky grenade explodes on impact pretty much. The regular grenade, the frag grenade, you have to cook it in order to make it really useful. And I just don't want to waste time cooking a grenade you're exposed during that time. You could be an easy kill. So I would rather just use a sticky grenade because it's faster. My next custom class is going to be with the Springfield. It's exactly the same otherwise, so I'm using the same attachments on it as well. The extended mags, the rapid fire, and the ballistic calibration. Same division, same basic training, same secondary. As you can see, everything's the same with my third custom class as well with the Lee Enfield. It's the only thing that's changing. And moving on to the fourth one, this is where I actually have this fun custom class where I'm using the rifleman basic training, which allows you to take 2 primary weapons and swap weapons faster. Now, again, I'm not getting the second benefit here of swapping weapons faster because I always insta-swap between weapons, and that's a button combo that allows you to switch weapons even faster than that. So I'll talk about that more in the next episode, but basically I'm just running this to get 2 primary weapons, the Springfield and the Lee Enfield, because those 2 have the exact same scope and speeds. And remember, if you want to try using this custom class, make sure you go to your settings and completely turn off aim assist, because otherwise it'll feel really weird to go from the Springfield, which has no aim assist, to the Lee Enfield that does have aim assist. So my final custom class here is with the Tommy gun, or the Thompson, and it's my favorite SMG to use. Even before they buffed it, it wasn't even really competitive with the other SMGs, but I still like to use it just because of the way it sounds. I really don't use other guns besides sniper rifles very much, but the Tommy gun is quite a bit of fun, so that's why I like to use it. If I swap in any other weapons, this is the custom class that I'd be swapping around. It's kind of like a temporary one that kind of rotates based on whatever I'm feeling. And yeah, so if you guys have any suggestions for tips or any like questions that you want answers to about sniping and quickscoping this game that you think would be good for me to answer in future episodes of this series, please leave a comment down below letting me know what you'd like to see next. I know for sure I'm going to be talking about the Insta Swap in the next episode, and I'm going to be testing some other stuff too that I think is just going to be overall useful to you if you like quickscoping and sniping in Call of Duty World War II. So if you're not already, please do subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes of this series. There's many more to come. You can also turn all notifications on when you subscribe so that it actually sends you an alert when I upload a new video, because otherwise sometimes it doesn't actually put it on the homepage for you to see it. Put all alerts on if you actually want to make sure you don't miss it. Again, the goal of this series is to try and help you become as good as possible at sniping and quickscoping in COD World War II. So if that sounds good to you, then of course I think it will benefit you to subscribe. And if you could take 2 seconds to leave a like on the video, I would greatly appreciate it. Big thank you to everybody who took the time to leave a like on this video. I appreciate you. I have some other videos linked on the screen now that I'd recommend checking out if you'd like to further improve your sniping or just check out some of my gameplay. So I'll have my quickscoping tutorial on there, which I very highly recommend checking out if you haven't seen it already. And I'll also put a gameplay video on there if you want to see some quickscoping and everything in action. I'll see you guys soon with a new video. Peace.